The periodic table. It's the classic symbol of chemistry, isn't it? Well, it was formulated way back in the late 1800s by the Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev. And there's an interesting story that goes along with Mendeleev. Not only did he formulate the periodic table, but supposedly he was instrumental in the popularization of vodka. That's a classic beverage, the Moscow Mule, for example, made with ginger beer and vodka. Makes for an interesting story, except that it isn't really true. Yes, Mendeleev did carry out some experiments with alcohol and water mixtures and measured the density and their thermal activity, but it had nothing at all to do with vodka. He did at one time sit on a Russian committee for determining what is the best way to tax alcoholic beverages, but that too was not specific to vodka. So where does this connection come from? It comes from a story, an ad actually formulated by Russian Standard, a type of vodka. And it was suggested that, quote, the Russian Standard of vodka being 80 proof, that is made up of 40% alcohol, that this was developed by the great Russian scientist Mendeleev. No, that's not true. What is true is that vodka is traditionally a Russian beverage. It also has Polish roots, and it is made by fermenting anything that's starchy or sugary. People believe that vodka is always made of potatoes. No, that's not the case. It is mostly made from corn and wheat, although it could be made from potatoes. But the name that we really associate with vodka should not be Mendeleev. It should be Pyotr Smirnov, a Russian peasant who in the late 1800s started a little distillery to make vodka. And then he had an idea on how to popularize the beverage. And he did it with bears. Well, I don't think he used a koala bear, but I didn't want to go out and buy a real bear. And he had a couple of trained bears at a festival, and these bears learned to drink vodka, believe it or not. And then he also had some men dressed up as bears going around serving the beverage. Well, it turned out that the Russian Tsar visited this festival, and he really liked this image of the bears drinking vodka. He talked about it, and of course when the Tsar talked about it, the beverage became extremely popular. And Smirnov became a very, very rich man, at least until the Russian Revolution, when he was judged to be an aristocrat and he had to flee. And he ended up in France. He started a distillery there, which he eventually sold to an American. And Smirnov is still the most popular vodka in the world. Although, interestingly enough, there is an American vodka called Mendeleev, again based upon the myth that the great Russian scientist had something to do with vodka, which he really did not. In fact, Mendeleev didn't even drink vodka because one of his brothers had become an alcoholic and he didn't want anything to do with that. So Mendeleev preferred wine to vodka.